This question is obviously about punctuation. They don't change the wording at all. The only thing that they change is the punctuation mark at the end of the word trait. And if we know our punctuation rules, this question is going to get very easy very, very fast. So let's look at the two advanced punctuation marks, the semicolon and the colon. Now, we've done this in other questions, but it's always important to know and memorize this for the SAT. A semicolon requires a full sentence before it and a full complete sentence after it. Basically, it is just like a period. And a colon requires a full sentence before, and then after we have some flexibility. We could have another sentence, we could just have like even one word. That is flexible. But we have something testable for both of these choices, which is that we need to have a complete sentence before the punctuation mark. If it's not a complete sentence, those choices can be eliminated just like that. So let's read it. Let's see if it sounds like a complete thought. However, a recent finding of handedness in marsupials suggests that a trait, well, what? It doesn't feel like we're finishing that thought, right? So why would we cut it off right at that point? So that's not great. We want to have a complete sentence. And so there's some complexity to this one. There is kind of a completeness to it, right? A recent finding suggests, that's kind of a complete thought. But then this word that is almost like resetting the sentence. And so that thought then doesn't get complete. A trait, what? It needs to do something. And so if you don't really understand the grammar here, I think at least you can rely on the way it sounds and sense that it makes no sense to put a period at that spot. Because if we did, we'd be kind of confused. We're missing something important. So that tells us that choices C and D are wrong. Those advanced punctuation marks won't work in this situation. And now we've got a 50-50 shot. Basically, do we need a comma or not? And a comma is a weaker punctuation mark. We do use them sometimes to kind of combine sentences, but that's much more complex. And we don't have that situation here, right? There's no word like and after this. But generally speaking, a comma is like a way of breaking a sentence apart, inserting something or interrupting, shifting in the sentence. And so we need to see if there's a shift going on at this specific spot. So it says that the recent finding suggests that a trait other than the presence of a corpus callosum links as handedness. So okay, links as sounds weird, but we're going to fix that in a different question. And we see here's a colon being used correctly because everything that comes before it is a sentence, and we're allowed to just have one word after it. But it doesn't seem like we're breaking at this spot right here after trait. It's kind of just like flowing through. The recent finding suggests that a trait other than the presence of a corpus callosum links to handedness or whatever it's going to end up saying. You can kind of trust your instincts here as well and just sense that there's no real pause after trait if you just kind of keep going, and that's what makes choice A correct. A comma most of the time is going to give us a little bit of a pause. We don't really hear one here, but also there's no really need to pause because the thought is continuing. We don't really want any interruption. We don't want a strong interruption with a semicolon or a colon, and we don't want a weak interruption with a comma. So just let the sentence flow.